Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Upside break in currencies foiled by cautious Fed and stronger PMI analysis. http ntvforex.com News ID BFBA 9F8 23 2023 12:16 p.m. The dollar fell to new lows against the euro, sterling, the Australian dollar, and the Swedish krona last week. NBSP however, it was a head fake and the greenback quickly returned to its previous ranges. NBSP. The combination of the July FOMC minutes that dampened expectations for new initiatives, such as yield curve control or an increase in asset purchases, and disappointing preliminary August PMI readings tempered investor enthusiasm for risk. NBSP. Since the lower end of the dollar's range was tested, the rule of alternation warns of the risk that the upper end will be probed. NBSP. Just like the downside was frayed, so can the upside. The resilience of the US PMI and the continued outperformance of US stocks compared with Europe undermine some of the arguments of the dollar bears. NBSP. Still, the US PMI contradicted the disappointing Empire and Philadelphia Fed manufacturing surveys, anecdotal reports suggesting the loss of the $600 federal unemployment insurance was already impact consumption, and some daily and weekly economic activity reports that also showed a loss of momentum. NBSP. This is where market positioning can be a more salient factor. NBSP. The uncertainty may encourage a move to the sidelines, which means reducing exposures, and for momentum and other short-term traders this means liquidating foreign currencies and buying back previously sold dollar positions. NBSP. Dollar Index NBSP. The low for the year was recorded last week near 92.00. NBSP. Neither the MACD nor slow stochastic confirmed to new low, creating a bullish divergence. NBSP. The upper end of the range comes in around 94.00, and closer to 94.30 is the 38.2% retracement objective of the drop it began at the end of June. NBSP. A gain above there would target 95.00, with intermittent resistance near 94.50. NBSP. The dollar index closed above its 20-day moving average 93.20 for the first time since July 3. NBSP. Euro NBSP. The euro recorded a 2-year high a little above $1.1965 early last week, preceding to shed 2 cents in the second half of the week and ended an 8-week advance. NBSP. The roughly 0.5% net loss on the week leaves it virtually unchanged for the month. NBSP. Contrasting preliminary PMI reads, with Europe disappointing and the US surprising to the upside, saw the euro post an outside-down session ahead of the weekend. NBSP. This leaves it vulnerable at the start of next week. NBSP. The price action appears to have left a bearish shooting star candle. NBSP. The momentum indicators also favor additional losses. NBSP. The lower end of the range is around $1.1700, and below there is a band of support from $1.1650 to $1.1680. NBSP. Japanese yen NBSP within a broad range of 104 Japanese yen 108 Japanese yen that has prevailed for nearly 2.5 months. The dollar has been most in a tighter 105 Japanese yen 107 Japanese yen range. NBSP. After testing the 105 Japanese yen level in the middle of the week, the dollar reversed higher, leaving it a better position to test the upside in the coming days. NBSP. The momentum indicators are not generating a strong signal. NBSP. The dollar finished last month near 105 Japanese yen and 80 sen. NBSP. British pound NBSP. Sterling set a 7-month high a little above $1.3265 in the middle of last week, and despite the better-than-expected July retail sales report and preliminary August PMI, it was no match for the rebounding dollar. NBSP. Indeed, sterling finished the week closer to the lower end of the month-long trading range $1.30 than the top. NBSP. The intraday ranges widened in recent sessions, which appears to reflect the churning of positions. NBSP. As was the case with the euro, the momentum indicators did not confirm the new high in sterling, and the divergence is understood to be bearish. A break of the $1.30 area could spur a move to $1.29, and possibly, $1.28. NBSP Canadian dollar NBSP The US dollar fell to its lowest level since January in the middle of last week to almost 1.3130 Canadian dollars and extended its decline for the sixth consecutive week. NBSP yet the break of 1.3200 Canadian dollars was not secure, and the greenback continued to straddle it in the second half of the week. NBSP The momentum indicators are trying to turn up, and to be anything noteworthy, the greenback needs to resurface above the 1.3265 Canadian dollars area. NBSP Even then, the 5-month-old downtrend begins the new week a little below 1.3300 Canadian dollars. NBSP Australian dollar NBSP after rising to its best level in 18 months $0.7275, the Australian dollar sold off sharply and posted a key reversal by closing below the previous session's low. NBSP follow-through selling the following day saw it fall to almost $0.7135, to flirt with a 7-week uptrend line. NBSP The attempt to rally ahead of the weekend faltered near $0.7215. NBSP The poor close keeps the risk on the downside in the days ahead. NBSP initial support is in the $0.7075 $0.7100 area. NBSP Here two momentum indicators failed to confirm the new highs, and the bearish divergences lend credence to the negative reading of the price action and outlook. NBSP Mexican peso NBSP for the second consecutive week, the US dollar rose to start the week and then proceeded to sell off the following 4 sessions. NBSP The lower end of the 2-month range is near 21 Mexican pesos and 80 centavos, and a break could spur a test on the 21 Mexican pesos and 50 centavos area. NBSP The 200-day moving average is found around 21 Mexican pesos and 40 centavos. NBSP Note that the middle of this year's range is about 22 Mexican pesos and 10 centavos. NBSP short-term interest rates in Mexico 4.5% 1-month seats, which appears to be supporting the peso despite a poor macroeconomic backdrop. NBSP Chinese yuan NBSP The dollar has fallen for 4 consecutive weeks against the Chinese yuan to trade at a 7-month low near CNY 6.90 ahead of the weekend. NBSP The dollar strengthened against most currencies following the unexpected strength of the preliminary August PMI. NBSP Although the for the year was set in January closer to CNY 6.84, we suspect Chinese officials will resist additional dollar weakness. NBSP Look for the dollar to move back into the CNY 6.95 CNY 6.97 area. NBSP Gold NBSP The powerful momentum that lifted gold for 9 consecutive weeks through the first part of August to a record high of $2,075.50 has been broken. NBSP Although gold rallied in the first part of last week and surpassed the 61.8% retracement objective $1,994 to poke a little through $2,015, corrective consolidative forces remain in control. NBSP The MACD is trending lower, but the slow stochastic has moved sideways after pulling back the previous week. NBSP support near $1,900 held, but we see potential to retest this month's low set near $1,863. NBSP A move above the $1,965 $1,970 would negate the bearish technical view. NBSP Oil NBSP bulls tried repeatedly to push October crude oil above its 200-day moving average $43.40 in vain and appeared to give up ahead of the weekend. NBSP It settled near at 2-week low $41.55 and below its 20-day moving average $42 for the first time this month. NBSP The 4-week drawdown of U.S. inventories was the longest in a year. NBSP Industry reports that 19 tankers carrying 37 million barrels of oil are on their way from the U.S. to China. NBSP Offsetting these supportive factors was the rising concern about demand as the recovery in the major economies may be stalling. NBSP The October contract has found support in the $39.40 area so far here in the second half. NBSP US rates. NBSP The US 10-year yield fell a little more than 7 basis points last week, cutting the previous week's increase in half. NBSP The yield slipped to an 8-day low near 62 BP before the stronger than expected preliminary PMI data. NBSP still, the yield finished lower ahead of the weekend for the fifth time in 6 sessions. NBSP The momentum indicators of the 10-year futures note suggest scope for additional gains in price. NBSP with the 2-year yield anchored by the conviction that the Fed is on hold until at least 2023, the 2-10-year curve is a function to the change in the 10-year. NBSP on the other hand, the 10-30-year curve eased a few basis points, but near 71 BP, remains near the upper end of the recent range. Next week's coupon supply $120 BLN is in the 2, 5, and 7-year notes, including reopening the 2-year floating rate note. NBSP The Treasury recently upped the size of the auctions and they are getting large $51 BLN 5-year and $47 BLN 7-year notes to be sold. NBSP indigestion would be seen in the stop-out rates, the tail, and the amount the primary dealers have to hold. NBSP S&P 500 NBSP A new record high was set in the middle of the week just below 3,400. NBSP profit-taking took it down about 45 points before buying re-emerged. NBSP The price action ahead of the weekend was encouraging and new highs look likely in the coming days. NBSP Several investment houses raised year-end targets. NBSP The tech-heavy Nasdaq rallied about 2.5% to new record highs and is now up nearly 26% year-to-date. NBSP The Russell 1000 Growth Index is up 23.75% this year, while the Russell 1000 Value Index is off about 12.6%. NBSP That stark divergence speaks volumes. NBSP Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors.